We've done a lot of build videos on this channel at various price points, but today we're going to build the best possible home gym using only Amazon for under $1,000. And this right here is one example of a possible build we'll explore. But since this video is going to have a lot to it, we don't have time for long intros. The rules are simple. For all 6 categories of equipment we cover, I'll give 3 options for each. My top pick, an alternative, and a budget option, so you'll have plenty of ways to build your gym to your wants and needs. But realize if you spend a lot in one area, you may have to cut back in another. If there are other types of build videos you want to see on this channel, maybe a build for a specific company or building a gym in a limited space, I don't know, you guys are the creative ones, I just steal your suggestions and pretend I came up with them, then let me know in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss out.
Oh wait, this is where you tell them you can't keep 4 racks and you're giving all this away.
Yeah, well, I'm keeping the bars, but Winnie's right. We can't keep all of this stuff, so make sure to keep your eyes on the channel and our Instagram as we give all this and more away. All right, let's get this started. Your first and probably biggest choice is gonna be a rack, and the most important factors when shopping for one are safety and versatility. And I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. My over-the-top power rack setups don't actually help me lift any more weight, though they do help me look cool online, and I think that's probably the most important part of a home gym. At this price point, your best bet is a 2-inch by 2-inch rack because they'll give you the most options for attachments, which is where that versatility comes in. My top choice, the Fitness Reality 810 XLT, this rack right here, is a good example of that. Not because it has a lot of options for accessories, which it does have a few, but because it's mostly compatible with Titan Fitness's T2 Power Rack, which is a better rack, but out of our price range. So if you get this rack, you'll have a great starting point that can be built off of some, which I'll elaborate a little here. Let's say you want actual J-cups instead of these. Titan's standard, sandwich, and roller cups will all fit since both racks have 1-inch holes, though which of those are offered on Amazon varies from time to time. And since this is an Amazon only video, I can't actually say a lot of the things I'll mention are often cheaper on the manufacturer's website. Now, I have to be clear here. Not every 2x2 attachment with 1-inch pins is going to fit this rack perfectly. Using Titan as an example again, the hole spacing is different, with Titan being 2 inches on center and Fitness Reality being 3. Why does that matter? Something like Titan spotter arms would fit on this rack, but you're gonna have a little trouble trying to get it into that second hole since it won't align, so you won't be able to use the security pins with this rack. Does that matter? I have no idea about liability on YouTube, so I'm going to officially say it's a very bad idea. And then we're not gonna do another bad wink because I've embarrassed myself enough in this video and we're only 3 minutes in, but that's exactly what I did with my Rogue Infinity rack and Titan attachments for years. This has all the basics you want in a rack. You've got a pull-up bar and safety pins, so you have some semblance of security, though I've actually seen some people put Titan's safety straps on it. Hell, I've seen it turn into a 6-post. If you want more information on this rack, we'll be doing an in-depth review soon, but suffice it to say, for the money, it's very difficult to hope for more. My alternative and budget picks demonstrate the issues of finding a versatile rack you can build off in this price range because they both have the same issue of having different size holes, which limits what you can put onto them. My alternative isn't so much about saving money, though it should save you a few dollars. It's more about saving space, and that's Sunny Health's squat stands. It's 14 gauge steel like this rack, and if your wife is asking if you could fit it into a tighter space, it's a decent option as it's about a foot shallower. It's still a 2x2-inch rack with 3-inch hole spacing, but the oddly sized 13/16 or so holes make finding attachments really difficult, though it does have an 805-pound weight capacity, which is great because I remember the first time I benched 800 pounds and wished I had this rack. In all honesty, weight capacities aren't particularly helpful numbers, but they do give you an idea on a rack's stability and capabilities, and this is one of the highest rated options out there, at this price. My budget recommendation may very well be your gateway drug. So when you're sitting there explaining to your wife why you're $3,000 into your original $1,000 build, don't say I didn't warn you. Cap's 905 squat stands are a great example of an item you'll probably upgrade from later on, but if you're not sure how committed you are to the addiction that is a home gym, this can be a great entry point. Cap makes some of the cheapest equipment out there, and this is the definition of bare bones. But if you're not pushing massive weights and willing to accept its limitations, like the 1-inch hole size, which again means it's hard to add on to, then it may work for you, though I definitely pick up the spotter arms so you have some type of safety mechanism. As a collector of barbells, I've had my hands on a lot of shafts, which is just a nice way of saying my wife is really supportive of how much time I spend alone in here. Let's ignore how weird that sounded. My top and alternative picks are really on the same level, so you can choose whichever matches your style of lifting, and that's the Bells of Steel Bare Naked Powerlifting Bar or their utility bar. First, let's talk about their similarities. They're both 20 kilograms, so 44 pounds, and they have a center knurling, which will help keep the bar in place during squats, and they both have these deep ribbed sleeves, but it's where they differ that's important. The most obvious and important difference is in the knurling. The Bare Naked bar with its aggressive knurl is meant for people who powerlift. So if your primary goal is to move big weights on bench, squat, and deadlift, boy, have you come to the wrong channel, because everything I use is fake weights and I can't really even move those. It also has a 29 millimeter shaft diameter versus the utility bar's 28.5, and the finish on these bars is obviously different, with the Bare Naked bar having, as the name suggests, no finish at all, so you will need to maintain this shaft regularly or it'll rust. But the lack of finish does provide the best possible grip on a barbell. The sleeves, though, are a hardened chrome, which is a great finish there because it will last a long time. As for the utility bar, with its passive knurling, it's meant for higher repetition workouts or Olympic-style lifts where an aggressive knurl would really chew up your hands. It also has a black zinc coating on the shaft, which tends to wear easily and show when it does. My Rogue Ohio bar is a great example of that, though at least these bright zinc sleeves won't show that wear as dramatically. Either way, both of these are great bars and incredibly difficult to beat at this price. My budget pick is one I've talked about in a lot of videos because it has no business being as good as it is for the price, and that's Titan Fitness's Economy Barbell. It's not something you're going to pass down to your kids as you may outgrow it, but it's a great low-risk bar to see if a home gym is your thing. The 30 millimeter shaft diameter is a bit thick, but the chrome finish should hold up well, and at this price, there's not another bar I'd purchase over it. When it comes to Olympic plates, at this price range, we don't really have a ton of great options. So as much as it pains me to say it, I'm gonna have to concede a bit to the really supportive cheapskate people in the comments and go with the cheapest decent option because we don't have the luxury of spending more here. For this build, I'm going to budget for a pair of each increment of weight, except for 35s, those aren't real plates. And if you have any money left over, good luck. You can add some extra 10s, which that'll make more sense when we get to dumbbells, or more 45s, depending on what you need. Two quick notes, and this applies to all of these items. One, Amazon is a marketplace, meaning companies that sell on there, whether they produce those items or not, will vary their prices based on demand and competition. And these plates are a great example of that, as I bought them for $67.50 each months ago, which is a great price. And it's been their best price, except when they popped up for $50 shipped, which is an incredible price. And I'm not mad, just like I'm not mad about spending an extra $30 on this power rack, because home gym prices aren't going down. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't click my links and then look for the cheapest seller, as oftentimes many companies sell the same items. Actually, if you enjoy this type of content, I would encourage you to use those affiliate links in the description, because that's how I bought all this stuff with affiliate commissions, and that's how we fund the channel. My second piece of advice would be to buy used if you can. But this can be tricky because people are dirtbags and like to hide things, but it's a good way to save money on a home gym, even if it does take some work. All right, now for the picks, which I've narrowed down to two choices, one for iron and one for bumper. With iron bumpers, there's no cheaper option than cap. Yes, the diameter on the 45s aren't a standard 450 millimeters. The finish isn't always amazing and can flake off as you beat on them, and the quality control can sometimes be lacking, but Amazon takes literally anything back, so there's no real risk, and these are the cheapest plates out there, so we have to adjust our standards some. Wow, I really sold those, huh? Just make sure to check through the listings as I piece together my set from multiple sellers so I could keep it as cheap as possible. For bumpers, as if you hadn't already figured it out, I'm going with Balance from Everyday Essentials. Now, there are a few options here, not only because there's multiple listings, but because there's a black and colored version. And while I had a guy arguing with me online about which was the better of the two, I'm telling you the best option is whichever the cheapest one is currently, as these are the cheapest bumpers out there for a reason. If it sounds like I'm being too hard on them, that's just my miserable personality, but like with caps, they're not a standard Olympic diameter, so if you're matching them with other plates, they might be off by 1/4 of an inch. It kind of looks like a newborn painted this letter B, and actually in general, a lot of this paint is coming off this lettering, so the quality control isn't always exceptional, and they can have a strong smell to them when you first get them. But as long as they weigh close to their marked weight, which isn't always a given, they're a low-risk way to get started with your gym. I typically get a pair of 45s to soften the sounds of lifts and fill in with iron plates, but how you build your plates is entirely up to you. Remember that rule in the beginning where I give 3 picks for each piece of equipment? The one I just violated in the last section by giving 2? Well, benches are my kryptonite, just like barbells, plates, collars. You get the idea. So I'm gonna give you a few extra options here. If you prefer a flat bench, you've got some choices. You can go ultra budget and get either the Marcy Flat Utility Bench or the Amazon Basics Flat Bench. They're both the same price, and as we talked about in our Building the Cheapest Home Gym Possible video, they're pretty similar. The only reason I give the nod to Marcy's bench is it has a much higher weight capacity, though honestly, after testing both of them and going over the max on Amazon's, I'm not really sure there's much of a difference. If you'd feel more comfortable upgrading your flat bench, and you would, I'd go straight to Titan's flat bench, as it's miles ahead of the other two because it's a much more robust and stable bench. Now for adjustable benches, which is what most people should and will probably get because they're a more versatile pick, but also cost more. My budget choice here is Amazon's most popular weight bench, the Flybird FB149. And if you've got an extra minute of time, watch the promo video for this thing. It's pretty entertaining.
The real life story of a man getting his life back on track.
Those are some great sound effects. We actually did a review on every single Flybird bench, so if you want more detail, I'd check that out. But suffice it to say, it's a little scary using an adjustable bench at this price. The fact it folds up is nice, and as much as I tried to break it, I didn't, and there's enough good reviews out there on it to make an argument for it. I did force them to send me another one since I gave all the others away, and I also bullied them into giving me an even better coupon code, which is Gluck, that gives 20% off anything on their site, but since it is their site, it's kind of cheating to mention it. My top pick for an adjustable bench hasn't changed in years, and that's the Rep Fitness AB3100. No offense to the rest of these benches, but this is far and away the best of the bunch. It's lightweight and easy to move around with the included handle and wheels. It has Reps Gen 2 vinyl, which I love because the grip on it is great, and it's a ladder style bench, so it's quick to adjust, and the tripod design means the front foot won't get in your way, but it's still a very stable and well done budget bench. Which brings us to dumbbells, and I couldn't figure out a clever way to move the camera, and it's actually kind of nice to sit, so we're just going to stick with this angle. Honestly, this was kind of the hardest for me to pick because my typical budget pick is loadable dumbbell handles, and the best inexpensive ones are out of stock on Amazon, so they're not currently listed, and that's these 20-inch handles from Titan Fitness. Much like their economy barbell, they're a very easy choice and still my top choice for budget handles, but I have no idea when and if they'll be available, and I should really probably stop cheating the video and not mention you could just order them from Titan. The 15-inch version of these are available on Amazon, but with a very short loadable sleeve length, you can't get many plates on them, though they will work for some people, which is why I've mentioned them as an alternative pick. If you're thinking there's plenty of others of these out there, what's the issue? Well, there are a few, but if you think dumbbell handles are slow to load and unload, you probably haven't spent much time with spin locks, and we've already purchased a set of Olympic plates, so buying a set of handles that use a different size pin is a bit counterintuitive, especially since we already know we can add more cap plates for pretty cheap. Are there other loadable dumbbell handles on Amazon? Sure, there's some highly rated ones, but you don't want cheap bearings in your handles, and that's exactly what you're gonna get unless you essentially double your price range. Or you've got options where the pictures in the listing are renderings and not actual pics, and the video for it, well, I'm not sure what that guy's about to do to that dumbbell.
Built-in ball bearings and copper brushings.
And I'm not sure if he means brass or bronze instead of copper, but what the hell are brushings? They picked for that video to be up there. All right. Let's move on. If you're anti-handles and want adjustable dumbbells, it's very difficult to find good budget options because we're not getting Nuabell, Power Block, or even Bowflex in this price range. But if you don't need a lot of weight, you could go with the 25-pound versions of Flybird's adjustable dumbbells. I don't recommend the 55-pound version because they use the same plate changing mechanism and go up in 11-pound increments, which just isn't a logical amount, but the 25s go up by 5 pounds at a time, which makes more sense. Now, these might be Amazon's most popular adjustable dumbbells, but they are a little clunky, and I'm not sure they're gonna last for years, but we've got a set we've messed around with and loaned out, and they're still kicking. Depending how you've planned and budgeted, you're either over budget and learning the first lesson of home gyms, this is a never-ending addiction, or you're over budget and pretending you're not. Congratulations, you've mastered the hobby. We're going to cover the extra little things you may need or want so you can at least tell your wife you're finished buying stuff. You will absolutely need collars, so here's 3 quick options. Our budget pick is from Clout. We've had these for years and have even tried some of the knockoff versions of them, and they work pretty well, though for things like deadlift or using them on loadable dumbbell handles, I'd want a little more holding power, which is where our Lockjaw Ollie 2 collars come in because they're better made and have more grip. If you bought dumbbell handles and are worried about loadable sleeve length, then I'd go with Lockjaw's Flex aluminum collars because they're much thinner, though at that price range, they're getting a bit too close to Rogue's USA aluminum collars, which are by far my favorite. You'll also want resistance bands, and you'll want a good quality latex band because much like other latex products, you're not going to be very happy if one of these breaks. I've had my Canway bands here for over 3 years now without issues, which makes them my go-to budget recommendation. Still got money left? I doubt it, but a jump rope is a great, inexpensive way to get some cardio in, and I really enjoy how much I hate my Wad Nation rope. If you want the most versatile, inexpensive item out there, a set of gymnastic rings is a fantastic addition to your gym, whether you're a gymnast or not. I've used mine to rehab my shoulders and build my strength, and I highly recommend Reps 1¼ inch wooden rings. The last thing you'll need is flooring, but I've crammed enough affiliate links into this video, and honestly, the best option isn't found on Amazon, so we're we're going to pretend it doesn't violate the budget. Go to your local Tractor Supply and get some 4-foot by 6-foot horse tall mats and tape them together with Gorilla Tape, and voila, you're one of us now. If you enjoyed this video, check out our other budget build videos here. And as always, like, comment, and subscribe to help us on the algorithm. I'm done with this video. Thanks for watching. Good luck. Goodbye. Whatever I'm supposed to say.